Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of those people, I hope you enjoyed the conversation and thanks so much for coming back. But for everyone out there who's new to the show, welcome. Feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer, soda, water, coffee in the fridge. Cheers to everyone out there on the internet. People have been saying since I was 5 years old, which is, rock is dead. I feel like people have always been saying that, right? And in a lot of ways, rock and roll definitely has changed from a mainstream perspective. What somebody considers a rock artist these days might look more like to like me or you, like, oh, like that's a hip hop artist or that's a pop singer, but it's like rock to them. Yeah. How, over the past 4 years that you've been working at the School of Rock and working with kids, like what is their view of like what rock music is? Is it still something that's current or is it like this ancient relic to them?
No, I think that the vast majority of them feel that it's current and alive and strong.
Yeah.
I'm quite a bit older than most of the kids there, obviously. So it's been cool for me, even finding out what they're listening to now, something that I may not have ever found myself.
Yeah.
So a lot of the kids have such vast musical tastes that, they might come in and you think, okay, this kid's full on metalhead. And then he's like, oh no, let's, do you ever hear the Deer Hunter? Mm. Which is not that far of a stretch, but far enough that I don't know if I would have, most people would go down that path and find a Deer Hunter from,
Between the Buried and Me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's great on both fronts. Hopefully we're going to get them into a few things they would have never heard of, but I definitely have found bands that I wouldn't have just from being around the kids.
Yeah, that was when my next question was going to be, what was it like, when things are introduced to you that maybe you would have never listened to? Have you found things that you love? Have you been introduced to things and have to like teach kids songs that you're kind of like, I don't like this at all? I'm sure it's a mixture, right?
It is a mixture. Yeah, there are some songs. But you know what? As a musician myself, whenever like we have an emo season coming up in the summer, I am not the biggest emo fan, but I'm looking forward to having to teach a couple students some of those songs because it's going to get me out of my, comfort zone musically as well. So it works both ways, hopefully.
Yeah, I almost wonder if like maybe. So you haven't started the emo season yet?
Not yet.
I wonder if like, once this is wrapping up, if you're going to find a new appreciation for any of those players as a result of like really digesting and trying to pick apart these compositions.
I'm sure that I will.
So I think like on the surface, it's really easy to write off a lot of that stuff, but that's no different than when we were younger and, our older peers were like, oh, you listen to that? Like that's, that's tomfoolery.
Yeah. I just had a conversation with my wife about this, about how the vast majority of people will look at metal players and think that they, that's just a bunch of noise. How can you listen to that? It doesn't sound like anything. And then, pull a random pop artist that didn't write their song. And again, that's a talent that I don't have. I'm not a singer by any stretch, but to lump all of the heavier, noisier genres into this no talent group is insane when some of them are probably some of the best players in the world.
Sure. I mean, it's just people have different palates, it's like spicy food, there's the whole 1 to 10 level if you go to the right restaurant, right? Yeah. And for some people, it's like all spicy food tastes the same. But if you understand the nuance and understand what to look for in the flavor, you can pick apart the differences.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. It's like somebody might show me 5 different like SoundCloud-esque hip hop artists, and I would think it was probably all the same person. And I'm sure I could show somebody like Cannibal Corpse and Decapitated and Black Dahlia Murder, but this is all the same band. It's not,
Yeah.
But people have different things. But yeah, I've definitely come across that too. Always been like, it's so funny how when you grow up listening to alternative music, you're kind of looked at in this